Hey Sofa Squad. So I was starting to think I would never be making a video like I am today. But Kathleen Zellner, who is the attorney working on Steven Avery's case, has dropped a literal bombshell. Now remember that Steven Avery and Brendan Dassey are currently serving life sentences for the events that took place, which the victim of those was Teresa Halbach. Now this is back in October of 2005. Both of them still maintain their innocence. Now I'm going to drop links to where most people ended up finding out about this case, which was the Netflix documentaries. I'm going to put them up on the screen right here. Again, there's season 1, there's season 2, and they're must watch if you've never delved into this case and you're into true crime. Now what is going on is that Kathleen Zellner has filed a new motion. In this motion, Kathleen and Stephen Richards are saying that a newspaper delivery guy witnessed Brendan Dassey's brother, who is also Steven Avery's nephew, Bobby Dassey, with somebody else. As the time of this recording, this person is unidentified, but with another person pushing the RAV4 onto the Avery property during a few days after that she went missing. Now the delivery driver guy is saying that, you know what, after I saw that, she went missing and all this stuff came to light, he was like, oh my gosh, I think what I saw pertains to this. And so he contacted the local authorities, at which point they told him, we already know who did this, run along. Now basically in this motion, and again, I'm going to put a link to Kathleen's website, which has the entire motion on there if you want to read through it. I'm going to be reviewing the actual part of it that goes over what this witness is saying, but the whole thing is very interesting to read through because it blows holes in this case, and there's some specific things that Kathleen and Stephen are going after. Kathleen and Stephen are saying, look, you know what, if this information was brought out and was actually shared like it should have been and properly vetted, number one, this would have completely blown the state's case against them wide open, obviously. But remember, Bobby Dassey was like the star witness, so that would have completely discredited him right there. Secondly, it would have linked him into the actual crime, as well as shown that, he planted this evidence. So without him in this and him pointing the finger and doing all this kind of stuff, it ain't looking good. Avery's attorneys are asking the Wisconsin Court of Appeals to stay the appeal and for his court case to be sent back down to the circuit courts. They want him to be able to pursue a supplemental post-conviction motion in connection to Mr. Avery's discovery of previous suppressed evidence by the state. Now y'all, this could literally be what turns this entire case around. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but I literally is to the point where I'm like, I don't know what else they can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have just literally hit the end of the road, I felt like, with, trying to find out what happened, get them out of jail, the whole 9 yards. So this right here, I'm just like, whoa. Now, a lot of people have a lot of different theories on who they think did it, so on and so forth, and Bobby's name has been like right there in the middle of all those theories, and a lot of them for people that, do not think that Avery did it, Steven Avery. So that's why this coming out and being like, oh my God. Now, obviously, they are looking for this second person. And again, at the time of this recording, I'm not sure when you will see this, probably in a couple of days from this, but they haven't found that second person yet. Kathleen was saying that they are getting lots of tips about this secondary person, and she feels confident they're going to be able to identify that person. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read through parts of this motion that are directly related to his statement, to the delivery guy's statement, and just offer some commentary and whatnot along the way, because I think it's very interesting the things that he's saying. So let's go ahead and jump on in. He's resided in Manitowoc, Wisconsin for over 20 years. In 2005, I was employed as a motor route driver at Gannett Newspapers Incorporated and delivered papers in and around the Avery salvage yard. While delivering papers, I drove my personal car, which was a tannish gold 4-door sedan. I cannot recall the make and the model of the car at this time. On Saturday, November 5th, 2005, I was delivering papers on the Avery salvage yard in the early morning hours before sunrise. I drove down Highway 147 and turned left onto the Avery Road. Soon after, I turned on onto Avery Road, I witnessed an individual who I later realized was Bobby Dassey, and another unidentified older male pushing a dark blue RAV4 down Avery Road on the right side towards the junkyard. Bobby Dassey was shirtless even though it was early November. The second man appeared to be in his 50s or early 60s, had a long gray beard, and was wearing a worn puffy jacket, had a larger frame, and was around 6 feet in height. The RAV4 did not have its lights on. Attached and incorporated herein are, as Exhibits A, are photographs marked where I saw the RAV4. I drove down Avery Road towards the mailboxes, left the Herald Times in the mailbox, and turned back around. I felt very afraid as I approached the two individuals because Bobby Dassey attempted to step in front of my car, blocking my exit. I was within 5 feet of Bobby Dassey and my headlights were on the entire time. The older man ducked down behind the open passenger door. I swerved to the right and drove in the shallow ditch to avoid hitting Bobby Dassey. I called out, "Paperboy, gotta go," because I was afraid for my safety. Bobby Dassey looked me in the eye, and I could tell with the look in his eyes that he was not happy to see me there. I knew that Bobby Dassey and the older individual were doing something creepy. Okay, y'all, let's stop right there for a second. That one statement alone right there, I'm like, oh my God. Now, y'all, we're going to slap all this with allegedly right now, okay? Just because. But I mean, that right there, you're like, whoa. I mean, all these thoughts start going through my mind about, remember how when they were like, okay, we saw the car, somebody else, like an eyewitness was like, well, I saw the car over here. You know what I'm saying? Like all this stuff. And then I'm just going through my mind too, where I'm like, I never felt right about the way her car was left on the property. Because I guess I come back to this and I kind of fight with it. I'm just thinking out loud right here. But I guess I'm like, if Steven did that, why would he park the car the way it was? I mean, it was barely hidden. Why would you leave it on your property like that? That never made any sense to me. And like the stuff propped up against it, something just didn't feel right about it. And so this right here, I'm like, well, if this ends up, being proven in court and whatnot, I'm like, whoa, this is why. This is why it looked like it was kind of like, oh yeah, we're just going to hide this car with a branch, wink, wink. After I learned that Teresa Hallback's car was found on November 5th, 2005, I contacted the Manitowoc Sheriff's Office and spoke to a female officer. I reported everything I have stated in this affidavit to the officer. The officer said, "We already know who did it." I provided my phone number and they said they would contact me soon. I never heard back from the police. Okay, again, let's stop right there. Here's the thing with that statement. It's kind of shocking on one level, but it's also not surprising because that's kind of been on brand for a lot of things with this. I mean, here's my thing with this too. Look at what took place over the first crime that it was proven hands down he did not do that. Look at how the officers behaved in that. So that's what makes it hard to be like, yeah. So when they're saying, hi, yes, I saw a person pushing that car doing something super creepy, but you're going to tell me that you've already handled it. Thanks. After watching season 1 of Making a Murderer, I contacted Avery's trial attorneys to inform them of what I saw. I never heard back. I also think it's another interesting note to end on the fact of why didn't his attorneys respond to him? Why didn't Avery's attorneys respond to this dude? So I'm very curious to see what they're going to say about that, if they say anything at all. I'm not sure if they have yet or not, but that's very interesting too. So here's my thing. I want to see this vet out. I am really crossing my fingers that this is going to, the motion's going to go through. What she's asking for is going to happen, and that at least this is going to be investigated. Because again, so many of these similar patterns were there before and all throughout these investigations. And I always just feel like this. Let's just, get to the truth of what's going on. This case, any case, let's not put a blinder on and just, say, oh, no, we figured it out. It's all this and we're going to make that work over here. We got so-and-so to confess to it, yada, yada, yada. I mean, we see that this happens all the time and it ends up being, not the correct person. So that being said, I'm just like, whoa. Now, Now, from what I've understood, like looking around out there, like this has caused this huge resurgence in people watching, you know, the original documentaries on the case and kind of getting involved in it and learning about it for the first time for a lot of people. So I think that's really interesting. We are going to completely stay tuned to see what takes place with this. And that's it. I appreciate you watching. If you want to see more of my videos, be sure to check out the things clicking here. If you want to see me review movies, scary movies, thriller movies, that kind of thing, be sure to check out my new channel. I'm going to put a little screen of it up here. The link for that will also be in the description. And that's it. Thank you to the mods, subscribers, watchers, viewers, Patreon, channel members, everybody for making the Sofa Squad a possible place to hang out and dish. Now, guess what? Next time I see you is when I'm going to see you. Y'all take care.